Welcome to PSL on the Mic. I believe this is our 12th episode now, and I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We are here today to talk about a big project that we've been working on for a few months now.
Oh, longer than that.
Longer than that?
Yes, over a year, yeah.
Wow. I really only thought it was a few months.
No.
It's the Community Identity and Rebranding Project, and there's no one who has more knowledge about what's been going on for more than a year now than Sarah Prohaska, our communications director.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I might not. There is one person who might have more knowledge, and that is, her name is Alyssa, and she is our brand strategist, and she's the one who has really been working on this in depth for over a year. But I do know a lot about it also.
You know a lot
I
about it,
want to give her credit,
Sarah.
though. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alyssa. Her stuff has been amazing. So I wanted to bring Sarah in here today because City Council recently approved a new logo and a new tagline for the city. So it's the perfect time to talk about what's been going on now for a year.
Yes.
But before we start, I want to refresh everyone's memory about this sort of non-traditional beginnings of Port St. Lucie and why creating and developing an identity for our city is so important.
Well, I know if you've listened to this podcast before, you've heard the mayor talk about how Port St. Lucie is not your typical city. We didn't historically start the way most South Florida cities historically started in the 1900s, 1920s. We were founded in 1961 by... That's correct, right? 1961.
1961 is correct.
Yes. Okay. Good. I always want to say 63, and I know that's not right.
That's funny because I always want to say 60.
Oh, that's funny. Anyway, so about 60 years ago. So we're a relatively young city, and we were founded by basically a development company who split the city into 81,000 single-family lots, and not pawned us off, but advertised us to places like in Japan, and they targeted veterans, they targeted retirees across the up and down the northern seaboard. Come buy a piece of paradise,
Kind of when
for
they
$10
retire.
down, $10 a month,
Right.
and you got your little. But they were selling a retirement community, but they didn't really put in the infrastructure, the roads, all of that typically develop over time in a traditional city. So that has been challenges that the city has been challenged with, is putting in all that infrastructure over time. But not that has anything to do with branding, but that's just kind of a little...
No, I wanted a little history
yeah.
about how we aren't a typical South Florida city that was created in the 1900s.
Yeah, so because of that, to my knowledge, there has never been a true brand for the city of Port St. Lucie. Because it came up in the 70s and the 80s. There's just a brand was never developed. Like you would look at some cities, they have a logo that they've used for ages. They have for example, Fort Pierce. They're known as the Sunrise City, and they have a logo. It's been used for a long time.
Yep.
It's well known. So Port St. Lucie, as far as I know, as far as I could tell, my research, and we could probably confirm this with the Historical Society, and hopefully they'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe maybe late 80s, early 90s, there was like an attempt, or that's how we got the motto, a city for all ages.
Right.
Because I think at that point, that was an attempt to make Port St. Lucie known as a city, not just for retirees, but for families, and because that was their challenge at the time. So I think that's the closest branding, quote unquote, branding has ever happened in the city of Port St. Lucie, to my knowledge.
And we've changed a bit.
We have. And,
since the 80s. We're more of a family city
in
now.
a way that worked. So when we started this project, we did a lot of research. We actually hired a consultant who did a lot of research for us. And Port St. Lucie is known as a family-friendly community now.
It sure is, yeah.
It is known as a great place to raise your family. It's known as a place where people come to visit family. That's a lot of the reasons why people come here, is to visit family. So in a way, a city for all ages worked, but that was from the 80s, 90s. So it really was time for something new and a true identity for a city of our size. Because that's the other thing people don't realize. We are now the 6th largest
Yeah.
city in the state.
And
So
the population's about 239?
yeah, about
around
240.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So you look at the cities that are bigger than us, which are Orlando, Jacksonville, Miami. I hope I'm not getting these wrong.
I think
Tampa.
Hialeah's up there.
No, Hialeah is not in the top 5 anymore.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I forget what it, but cities of that
Size, yeah.
they have Orlando is known as City Beautiful. Like
Mm-hmm.
they have known brands, and they have a feeling. You go there, you know what you're getting. So that was part of the reason we are now in that league.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to have that identity.
So why is a rebranding so important for a city?
Well, it helps set you apart. It helps differentiate you from your neighbors or if someone says Port St. Lucie, it helps them think, oh yeah, Port St. Lucie. Oh, when I go there, I'm going to do this. Or, I go there to visit family. It's known as a welcoming community. It's known as a family-friendly community. And that's the thing about a brand is it's not just your logo and your tagline.
Right.
Those are actually offshoots of the brand. The brand is how the city makes you feel, what you think of, what's the first thing you think of. So we did a lot of research to get to that, perceptions from residents inside the city and outside the city. And we learned that, like I said, it's a family-friendly community. It's people come here to safe, clean, and beautiful. They believe we are safe. They believe we are very clean, more clean than other cities around us or in the state. And beautiful. They think we should accentuate our nature more than we do. The St. Lucie
Trails
River.
and walking in the river.
Yes.
Yep.
So they want our identity tied to all of those things, not just necessarily building and development.
So before we get into the logo that we've chosen and the tagline, let's talk about this, what I thought was months long, but now is more than a year.
First we had to get it put, so we had to get, the council had to tell us that this is something they wanted us to do. As the communications department, we can't just say, oh, let's go rebrand the city.
Exactly.
It has to be something that there's will and buy-in from the entire council. So it was over a year ago that the council decided, yes, it's time. We have so many new residents coming here. We have changed so much just in the last few years alone. We need to figure out who we are. We need to figure out what our identity is, and we need to get that out to the world. So
what did we do?
We put it in our strategic plan.
Okay.
So the strategic plan is the council's pretty much roadmap for all the major projects they're going to do. So we got that into the strategic plan, and that allowed us to start the process. So that was over a year ago.
Wow. And we have input. I don't know if you mentioned them yet, North Star.
Yes.
We had the help of North Star. So let's go over the process with that company, how we brought them on board. And you said that they did a ton of research.
Yeah.
There were surveys that were sent out to, city employees, city residents, everyone. But who else besides North Star helped us with developing all of this, the brand?
Yeah, but I want to talk about North Star a little bit.
Okay,
North Star is it's a premier place branding company. They're actually based in Jacksonville, but they work with cities all across the country. And so we put out we went through our procurement process and asked for quotes from several different branding agencies, because we have a really, I mentioned Alyssa.
Yeah.
We have a really great, strong graphic artist and graphic artists, more than one, here who work for the city. And we have done little branding projects before. The Port District, she helped create all of that. So we knew we could probably do the creative stuff in-house. We know the city well enough. We know what works. So we didn't really need a branding company to do that. So that's typically what you bring a branding company to do. They do all the research and then they do all the creative. We were lucky enough to be able to do the creative in-house. It saved us a ton of money. So we did a majority of the work in-house. So we were able to just hire North Star because they have done this sort of research, like I said, for cities across the country.
That's what they do, yeah.
So we were able to hire them to do the research for us, because that's something that we're typically not capable of doing what they're able capable of doing. So that was really the only expense to this. And they did a fantastic job. They started in March. They had focus groups with tons of community groups, the Historical Society, the Economic Development Council, teachers. We met with students, and we went and visited Tradition Prep, and we got a bunch of input from a really great group of students there.
That's awesome.
We took them they talked to the Mets. They talked to a ton of people, and then we did a survey, an external survey for residents, and we pushed that out everywhere, and we got over 1,000 responses. And that was asking things like about what are your perceptions of the city of Port St. Lucie? What kind of city are we? What do we want to be known for? What are we known for? What do you identify with? They did things like we showed pictures of different occupations and said, what one of these occupations, and it was a nurse that
is most familiar.
Yeah, like helpers and teachers were like what the survey showed. So they did that, and then they also surveyed people, and I believe it was Miami-Dade, Orange County, outside of the city to get
their
perceptions of people who don't live here.
Okay.
So the research is solid.
It's very extensive.
They came back and we presented to council. Council was very impressed. So based off that research, we came up with the DNA statement, which I wish I brought with me. I should have, but I can't remember. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But so we created what we call a brand DNA statement.
Yeah. Excuse me. Explain that. That could be. That's like probably a process that a lot of people use. What is that DNA statement?
I wish I said.
Not what is it, but like what does it do? Basically,
it helps us focus the creative process.
Okay.
And focus on things that this is images and words. Creatively, it helped us focus on that. So,
okay.
It said the brand. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it shows that we're the largest city between Miami and Orlando. People, I can't remember, but we're a safe city. We're a place where you can belong. So
probably something family oriented.
Yes.
Raise a family here.
I wish I had it. I should have brought it, but
it encompasses all of the research.
Yes, into concise statement.
A statement,
and that helped us as we were picking out images and what marks for the city. And the research showed that residents inside and outside the city felt that the St. Lucie River is one of our greatest assets. But, a lot of people don't even realize the St. Lucie River is there because it runs right through the heart of the city, but we don't have much public access to it until our port district opens soon.
Yep.
And then it will. And if you ever walk the Crosstown Parkway, you can know how beautiful the river is. So people wanted our identity tied more to that. So we took all the research and we came up with a couple ideas that we batted those around internally for months.
Yeah, I remember.
Months.
Colors, everything.
Alyssa and I would come up with ideas in the middle of the night, and I'd text her and I'd be like, okay, how this? So we ended up, after months and months of that.
Yes. The logo was recently revealed, actually.
But that logo I think we went back and counted 165 iterations before we got to.
Oh my gosh.
It changed a lot, but that wasn't the only concept because we wanted to bring at least 3 concepts to council.
Sure. So they can they can see what we came up with and choose something.
And as part of North Star's contract, they didn't just stop with the research. They didn't do the creative, but they were coaching us.
Okay.
So we got the benefit of excellent advice from them. Yeah. But Alyssa was doing all the creative work.
Okay.
So then what we did was we came up with 3 concepts, and we this is another way we saved money because through luckily through our connections and our relationships, we were able to bring together a team of design experts who volunteered their time for us. So we had
from where?
IRSC,
cool.
One of the graphic design leaders over at IRSC, a couple people that we know through, we're involved with the American Advertising Federation.
Okay.
So a couple people from across the state for that. Our friend, we made friends with Sandy, who is a graphic designer for the town of Jupiter.
Oh,
so she sat in on
interesting.
our. Sandy sat in on our.
And they volunteered their
design
time for us.
Yes,
That's amazing.
and a couple others. And then some city staffers who are key forward-facing city staffers. So we brought the designers and the city staffers together, and we had several design sessions with them. And like I said, they volunteered their time, and they helped us refine our concepts. And that's where really the creative work was done in those sessions.
That's
So.
awesome. And I love that you got someone from the town of Jupiter, too, another city government.
Yeah, she's a great graphic designer,
That's awesome.
too. Yeah, so she gave some really good input, too, because she's familiar with Port St. Lucie, but she doesn't live here. So,
Yep.
yeah, and we had a gentleman who was the city manager for the city of Coral Springs, who is now a resident of Port St. Lucie. And he was city manager of the city of Coral Springs when they rebranded.
Ah, perfect.
I don't know if you've ever seen Coral Springs' branding. It's great. They have great branding there. So once I found out that he was their city, I knew him. I just didn't know that he was.
And now he lives here.
And so we brought him on. So he gave us kind of some insights from their process of when they went through it. So we had some really good input. So.
That's awesome. So we've been teasing this whole time now.
Yes.
Now the logo, WPTV recently did a story. John Chayman interviewed Mayor Martin. And what is the logo that we've decided on?
And this was unanimous. We had several, but none of them were as good as this one.
Yeah.
And this was unanimous. The staffers said that's it. The designers said that's it. So we came up with Heart of the Treasure Coast, and this works on several levels because number one, it's true.
Yes.
A tagline that's not true won't last. It'll probably not be successful once you put it out to the public.
Right.
But Port St. Lucie truly is the 6th largest city in the state, the largest city on the Treasure Coast, the economic heart, the economic engine of the Treasure Coast. And we're stepping up, and I think that's where council is. They're ready to step up and claim that. And I think that was one thing that we learned from our perception study from the outsiders.
From the outside people, yeah.
The people didn't really know where we are. So it hits it geographically. You say that,
right,
and you know where we are. But also it hits that we're the heart. We're the biggest city here. So
this is where everything happens.
Not to put any of the other cities down, but that is true. We're the biggest city there, so we can claim that. So,
so our tagline is heart. The heart. Is it the heart of the treasure? Heart of the Treasure Coast.
And it also works in another level because of the research showed that people found that Port St. Lucie is a city with heart. Like our people have heart. Our people care.
The teacher, nurse thing.
The nurse, the veterans. We care for our veterans here really a lot. That I think that's one of the things we're becoming known for, and family oriented. So when people said they come to visit family. So. Now, it works on that level too, heart of the Treasure Coast. So it's not just geographically, but yeah.
Now, what about
emotionally?
The heart that's coming in
so
tradition? Was that kind of just so happened?
The Mattamy heart?
Yeah.
That was kind of like a happy coincidence.
Yeah.
That didn't influence us, and that was already planned, but it works. So, it
does work perfectly.
Yeah, it works.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, but the logo now.
Okay. So the logo.
What's the logo going to look like?
We had actually 3 concepts. One was just a typography concept. We're playing off the letters PSL.
Okay.
Which we kind of kept, which council kept that as a secondary logo. So you may see that somewhere. It's just typography. Like you see some cities and their logo is just their name.
It'll just be PSL and then Heart of the Treasure Coast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Port St. Lucie spelled out with a PSL in a different color. So that's kind of our secondary logo that they approved. So we came up with 2 image concepts. One was a mangrove tree and one was a sandhill crane. So both tied to the water, both tied to nature, which we took directly from the research and what residents told us they want to see our identity tied to. The mangrove tree, we looked. There is not another city in Florida that has the mangrove tree as a...
which is interesting.
It is interesting, but I kind of know why now because it's kind of difficult to capture the mangrove tree.
You might know it's a
Where
tree
people
of
know
some
what it
sort,
is.
right? Yeah.
And that was kind of the concern of council, which is why they veered away from that one. But it has roots, so it's very symbolic. The roots, they clean water. So we have a ton of water initiatives that we've done in the city of Port St. Lucie, but we're not known for them.
Right.
So that that ties to that, and we're a Tree City USA. We just got $1 million, or not $1 million. We got a grant to plant 1 million trees.
Yep.
I mean, we're known for our tree giveaways. So that was kind of where
the banyan tree out in the port.
Yeah. So that was kind of where that idea came from. So that was one concept.
Good
but like
one.
I said, that was council didn't veer toward that one because I think it's kind of difficult to look at it and know
exactly
people
what
don't-
it is.
Mangrove isn't
Right.
unless you lived in Florida and really know it. So it's not easily identifiable.
Sure.
So the other one was the sandhill crane, which we picked just because, they're all over. They're kind of our city mascot anyways.
They are.
People love them, and our residents here are protective of them, and
Very.
they hate it. You're our social media manager.
Yes, I am.
If one of them gets hit or something happens to a
Yep.
sandhill crane, everyone loses their minds.
Yep.
So
We always share information about how we live among wildlife
Yes.
and how to do it and to make, because they're a protected species.
they are, and they're known here. They're here. They're all over, which isn't necessarily true of I grew up in southern Palm Beach County. I had never seen a mangrove or not
A mangrove.
I've seen a mangrove tree. I've never seen a sandhill crane until
Right.
I moved here. I've lived here for over 20 years. So in the late 90s when I moved here, I love them because they are, and I think that's how a lot of people feel who move from a city that doesn't have them and they're here. And Sandy from the graphic artist from Jupiter who was helping us was saying, yeah, they're in Jupiter, but they're not as prevalent as they are here. So it is kind of something we're known for. And then the other thing about the sandhill crane is they mate for life.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, so there's a whole
families.
symbolic family tie. They're fit. They you walk around and every year they hatch their babies and they stay in their little family unit.
And they usually, when you see one, it always worries me.
Yes,
Because they're
'cause
always in pairs.
There's
They're either injured or something
Yeah.
happened, and I don't like to see that. But yeah, they're either together or with their little babies, their little chicks.
Yeah. So we just thought personally, Alyssa and I thought that would be a great symbol for the city, and we tested it with the designers, and they loved it too. So she did a great job. We worked on that sandhill crane, and we actually had two options we presented in council. One with the one that we picked, where the beak is boldly looking forward, and then she
Right.
had one that was really a lot softer and more graceful, where its neck was looking back. And they told two different stories.
Yes.
And that was one thing that North Star helped us with. They said, so what story do you want to tell? Do you want to be bold and strong and looking to the future? Or do you want to be kind of graceful, looking back? And council said, no, we want to be bold and strong and looking to the
forward.
future.
Yeah.
So it's a very bold crane looking forward. And cranes are bold creatures.
They are.
They don't mess around.
They don't. They don't care if you're driving your car in the road. They'll cross the
Exactly.
street when they want to.
Yeah, so that's kind of how the city council. We are a bold city. We are innovate. We're working to claim that identity.
Yes.
So that, and then we had a bunch of different color schemes, and the council picked our boldest.
That's
one that was actually
interesting.
labeled bold.
Yeah, that's interesting because I remember looking at those colors, and I believe I picked so I liked a more softer
the design
one.
committee actually recommended a more naturey color scheme, but the council decided no, we want to be bold.
Interesting.
And so yeah,
I love
so
it.
It was part of their vision.
I love that.
So.
I do want to go over one thing though.
Oh, can I say one more?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
Jump in whenever.
So in both of our concepts, and so one thing we learned from working with North Star is a heart is a tricky,
Oh, I forgot about the heart.
yes, a heart is a tricky symbol to work with because it's super easy to become really cliched with the heart. So when we actually picked Heart of the Treasure Coast before we picked, so we had that in mind as we were making these, as Alyssa was designing these
Right.
two symbols. And North Star kept telling, and they have the experience, they know a heart is heart. And they actually have and I don't know, they basically said they never use a heart because it can become very cliched. It can become,
It's so symbolic. Everyone knows it.
it can become too medical looking,
Okay.
healthcare.
Yep.
It can become too Valentine's Day looking. It can become too, just it's hard.
It's overused a lot.
Overused,
Right.
And you don't want to be like New York. I Heart New York. They claimed the heart
Yep,
a
that's
while
it,
ago.
long time ago.
Like you can't copy that. So, a heart is a tricky thing.
Yeah.
Alyssa did an awesome job. If you look at the crane, there is a little heart kind of etched into its wing.
Yeah.
So we kind of hid the heart that way, and she did an incredible job, I believe, in incorporating a heart in a really subtle, not in your face, not this big red giant heart around the crane that is easy. And also when you look at, you got to keep in mind, we have to replicate this logo on shirts, tiny,
Yep.
on business cards, on massive
Our flyers,
big
our
murals.
posters. Yep.
So it has to be scalable.
Right.
So it has to be a pretty simple. You can't have a very detailed image. So she did a great job with
It
that.
looks-
so there is
it
a heart
looks
in the
awesome.
wing. Yeah.
Look
So,
for it, everyone.
Yes.
I do want to go over the difference between a city logo, which now we have, the Sandhill Crane, and a city seal.
Okay.
The city seal is not changing.
No.
Okay. There was some chatter on social about why change the city seal? I like the way that it looks. We're actually adding a logo. We're not taking anything away from the city seal. We're not changing the city
Yes.
seal. So there is a difference.
There is a total difference between a city seal and a city logo. And for years, because we didn't have a logo.
We called it the logo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we used the seal as a logo, which you really shouldn't do. So
Yeah.
the seal is many cities have a seal and a logo. The logo is for your forward facing, for your signs, your letterhead, your business cards, your merch, your wayfinding signs, your monument sign. The seal is more of an emblematic thing. You put it on certificates and
Official.
documents. You put it on things that you really might not want your logo on, like a code enforcement letter.
Right.
You put it on legal documents. So the seal is not going away. The seal is historical to the city.
Yep.
And it'll just be used differently. It won't be slapped everywhere like it has been. The Sandhill Crane will now kind of take that role, but the seal will still be there. The seal is not going away. It's part of our history.
So when we have new shirts,
The shirts will have the logo. The logo, not the
Okay.
seal. Because the seal shouldn't really go on a shirt. A seal should go on a document.
of it, what we we're just talking about.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clear that up because when I started working here a few years ago, I always called it the logo,
everyone
the city
did.
logo.
Yeah, everyone did
Yeah.
because that's all we had.
Everything's been revealed. Council has approved the logo, the tagline,
The colors.
the bold colors. So what are the next steps now as the communications department? What is our job now?
So now we have to implement. And it's not going to be snap your fingers. Everything's changed. We would love that.
That'd be great.
But that's not how it works because people have to budget over time money to change things out. So we'll start, and it's going to be probably a slow trickle.
Okay.
But the first major thing we're going to do, which is already in the works, we've been working on this for over a year, is a website, redoing our website.
Yep.
And we're going to, hopefully that will be done early. Hopefully it should be done. It should be done early next year, hopefully January, February-ish.
Okay.
And that will have all the new branding on it. So that'll be one big reveal. We'll slowly change things like that are easy. Business cards, email signatures, things like that. But I know we are going to start working on monument signs, but that is a slow roll.
Sure.
And that'll probably be happening over time because you have to budget for that.
Probably over the year,
Yeah.
maybe even more.
Oh, probably more.
Yeah.
So, And as departments, have their annual budgets that they budget for new shirts, new uniforms, then they'll bring on the new ones. They're not just going to throw everything out and start, because no one can afford that. You got to budget.
You have to budget for
time,
it,
like you would budget anyways for new stuff. So
okay, this is all very exciting. It's exciting for us.
Yes.
I know you and Alyssa and the rest of the team have been working so hard, but it's also exciting for our residents. It's giving our city that identity that we may not have had before.
And it defines who we are. We
Sure.
are the heart of the Treasure Coast.
Yeah,
And we understand not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone's going to love it. Art and beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
100%, especially when it comes to public art
Yeah.
and things like that. Everybody likes what everybody likes. But this has been researched
I was going
over
to say,
the past year.
yeah, if you don't like it, at least take to heart knowing that we didn't just pick this out of the thin air. We didn't just pick it because I like Sandhill grains. We picked it because we did research, and we invited everyone to get in on that research. Mm-hmm. We pushed that out as much as we could, survey. Alyssa was at events last year getting people to take this survey. We pushed it through social. We pushed it through emails. We pushed it through
it's been on our website.
We even had our own little website page for it. So we pushed it, and then we got a pretty good response. North Star was impressed with our response rate. So our residents are usually awesome about taking our surveys and giving us their feedback. So if you don't like it, just take heart in at least knowing there is some research. There was a lot of thought that went into the symbolism, and not everyone likes the same kind of art. But I've gotten great feedback on it so far. Keep our fingers crossed. I think it resonates with people.
Everybody likes Sandhill cranes. I love that it's it's subtle, like
Not
you said.
Everybody. I've heard, since this has come out, I know some people don't like them.
Okay,
but that's okay.
Anyone listening out there who doesn't like Sandhill cranes, please contact me because I want to know why.
Yeah.
But it's subtle.
They're loud.
They are loud.
I can tell you that's why. But
they're
bold.
That's what we are.
Exactly.
We're forward looking.
Yeah.
It's such an exciting time, though, and everybody works so hard on it. I hope that everybody's proud, and I know our residents will like it.
We hope. I mean, and if not, we hope they at least understand how we got to where we got and why, the thought that went into it, and the message we're trying to convey with it.
Yeah, it didn't take us a month to do this. This
was a long
time.
Yeah.
Sarah, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh,
I hope you get to come back soon.
I hope so too. I think we can talk about our Citizen Summit. That is coming
up in February, the 3rd, I believe.
Yes, we're moving it up a few weeks. So it's usually at the end of February. This year it's going to be not this year, next year. It's going to be at the beginning of February.
Can you believe it's like December on?
I can't believe we just had Thanksgiving.
I know, it's crazy.
I'm just thinking of all. December is our busy month here in the communications
nice segue,
department.
Sarah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some events that are coming up. Tomorrow night is Festival of Lights over at the Mid-Florida Event Center.
Tomorrow night, we mean December
2nd.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this because there is a Huey Lewis in the News.
A
tribute band. It's Back to the Future themed. It's going to be really, really fun. Midway Carnival, tree lighting, parade of lights at 6.
Yeah, Festival of Lights is our biggest event.
It's huge.
If you're new to the city, that is definite. If you want the holiday fun, that's
I believe there will be snow. Hopefully. They usually throw some snow there when they light the tree.
There's usually fireworks.
There are fireworks.
Okay.
There's definitely fireworks. That is from 2 to 10 on December 2nd.
Yes.
The following week, December 8th, we have Noche Buena, and Grammy Award-winning musician Tomasito Cruz is coming back.
And he's awesome. I saw him at the International Festival.
Amazing. Yeah. Every time I share something on social media, his team reshares it. He posts all the time about he loves us. Yeah. So that's going to be a great time. Tickets are on sale now. I think they're $5 and then $10 at the door.
Okay.
December 15th, we have 2 events that day. In the morning is Pancakes with Santa, Parks and Recreation. It's for kids.
Bring out your little ones.
It's so much fun. And that night, PSL and Lights party.
Now that's a communications.
That's a communications
department event.
We love that.
But we got to thank Mid-Florida Event Center.
Oh, yes.
Neighborhood Services, the NICE program, and the PD, our
Correct.
police department. They partnered with us this year. And come, because it is going to be bigger and better than ever, thanks to the Mid-Florida Event Centers and everybody's participation.
And Forever Motown.
They got us Forever Motown. So we have a awesome musical, and it's all holiday music.
Yep.
So this is if you want to come be immersed in Motown holiday music. And it's the lead singers former lead singer of the Temptations, former lead singer of the Spinners?
Yes, the Spinners and the Marvelettes.
The Marvelettes. It's going to be a fun show, but the PSL and Lights party is also about showing off our residents and celebrating our residents. So we have a big screen where if you are one of our lucky, or if you're one of the wonderful people who've decorated your house and put it on our PSL and Lights map, you could be featured on your house could be featured on our big screen.
Yep.
During the party where we feature the homes, and we have all kinds of fun stuff for everyone.
There's a pet costume contest going on.
Our snowball zone is hit there's fake snow and snowball fights. It's a hit. Definitely bring your kids. They love it.
That's 5
free
actually it's
pictures with Santa.
And we started earlier this year. It's 5 p.m.
It's 5 p.m.
It's 5 to 9, Friday, December 15th.
And the Motown show starts at 8. So there's plenty of time to come do all the kids stuff.
Yep.
Crafts. We have crafts. The St. Lucie Cultural Alliance is going to be out there helping us.
Cocoa, cookies.
Humane Society of St. Lucie County sponsored our pet parade. So that's awesome. So they'll be out. And like I said, free pictures with the best Santa. The Santa we get every year is really good.
He's wonderful, and he's a good sport and always takes photos with everyone.
Lots of giveaways. So come.
Trivia contest, I
Trivia
believe.
contest.
I just wrote those questions.
And Elvis. So opening for Motown is our Elvis impersonator who does a Christmas show
from last year.
Yes,
he was great.
He was great. So so come see Elvis and then come see Motown. It'll be super fun.
And PSL
free.
and Lights.
It's free.
It's all free.
All free.
PSL and Lights is actually going on right now. So you can visit cityofpsl.com/PSL and Lights, submit your house. We already have, a dozen, and it only opened on Friday.
Yeah.
There's a photo op contest where we have displays throughout the city. We have Winter Wonderland Light Show, which begins, I actually think it begins today. Mm-hmm. And then Holiday Lights at the Botanical Gardens.
Yeah.
That started last week, and it's been a hit already.
Yep. And use the map. So the PSL Lights map is, as we said, Port St. Lucie is now the 6th largest city in the state, and we are massively spread out.
120 square miles.
And there are excellent home light displays throughout the city, so use the map. Pick out the ones you like, make your own little driving route. It's a fun date night. I've heard lots of people do that for a date night around here.
It's a wonderful thing to do on Christmas Eve.
I've done it on Christmas Eve
many
years with my kids.
Take the kids out.
And we know which ones we want to see. We plot it out before, and so you're getting the really good ones.
Yep.
So.
It's an amazing time in the city of Port St. Lucie right now. We want to thank everybody for listening. We've had this podcast since about July now, and it's been a great success, and we want you to keep sharing your ideas with us. So visit us at cityofpsl.com/podcast, and we will have everything in the show notes for you guys so you know what's going on in the city for the next couple weeks. And Sarah, thank you again.
Thanks, Maureen.
This was so
All
fun,
right.
and we'll see everybody again soon.
Thanks.